Good morning, students. Already we gone through different types of line coding methods in digital to digital transmission. And next coming to how can we convert an analog signal into a digital signal in digital transmission, which is the last chapter in first unit. Analog to digital conversion. A digital signal is superior to an analog signal because it is more robust to noise and can easily be recovered, corrected and amplified. Means digital signal is superior to analog signal, means that is most advantageous than analog signal because noise disturbances and amplification and easy recovery are more in digital signal. So we can call it as superior to analog signal, but noise disturbances are less in digital signal when we are comparing with analog signal. But we can easily recover a digital signal and we can correct and we can amplify. But analog signal may not be amplified easily. Amplification of analog signal is more complex than digital signal. For this reason, the tendency today is to change an analog signal to digital data. That is easy than a digital to digital conversion line coding methods. So, here we are describing two techniques for conversion of an analog signal into a digital format. Those are pulse code modulation and delta modulation. Coming to the first one, pulse code modulation consists of three stages in conversion from analog to digital. First one is sampling, that is nothing but measuring the analog signal by dividing that into number of samples. Second one is quantization, means assigning the measures to the sampled analog signal. That is, measures means amplitude measures, scales in coordinate axis, and depending on that scale we can assign the values to the samples. And third one is binary encoding. After assigning the codes to the samples, we can convert those codes into binary format. Then we can get a digital signal. So these are the three stages. First one is we have to represent the analog signal in sampling format, dividing the signal into number of samples, and next assigning the measuring codes to the sampled signal. Measuring codes means dividing the signal in sampled signal into intervals, and third one is converting those interval values into binary format. Then automatically a digital signal is produced. So before we sample, we have to filter the signal to limit the maximum frequency of the signal as it affects the sampling rate. So here when we are dividing the sample into number of signal into number of samples, we have to consider what are the minimum and maximum frequency ranges for that signal. And depending on that, we can divide that into number of samples. That is nothing but the sampling rate. Sampling rate means number of samples per time interval. Filtering should ensure that we do not distort the signal. That is, we should not change the signal. That is, remove the higher frequency components that affect the signal shape. We should not change any sample in the signal and also shape of the signal. If we alter or distort the signal, automatically data in the signal samples can be changed. We can get inaccuracy in interpretations. So this is the model diagram for pulse code modulation. Sending an analog signal, first one, and next here this analog signal is passed through a pulse code modulation encoder. First one is sample, next quantization, third one encoding, and producing a digital signal. So first, sampling always uses pulse amplitude modulation method for signaling, for dividing the signal into samples. So that is nothing but we have to assign the samples per signal, that is per signal. So this is the signal. Here the number of samples means we can consider sample may exist from this frequency to this frequency depending on that. Here up to this one sample, up to this one sample, up to this one sample, etc. So here this is the first one, dividing the signal into samples, that is nothing but sampling. For dividing the signal into samples or performing sampling, we can use the method of pulse amplitude modulation. And after sampling, that can be passed to quantization. In quantization, we have to assign the codes for these samples, that is measuring codes for the samples in coordinate axis, and also intervals for the samples. That is, this is for example I am considering 0 to 5, and this is 5 to 10, and this is 10 to 15, etc. You can consider the measures, that is intervals, we can fix that may be any value, but interval value should be same to all samples. Interval difference should be same to all samples. And next, after assigning the intervals, you can convert those by decimal values where this sample amplitude that has been existing into binary data, and pass that information as the digital data to this analog signal. So this is the process of pulse code modulation. So first one, sampling. An analog signal is sampled every t seconds. That is, the TS means sampling seconds. So we can sample the signal for every t seconds, that is for t seconds of time interval. We can consider that as one sample. After again next t seconds, another sample. Next t seconds, another sample. So TS is referred to as sampling interval. So we can fix the time, and after that time interval, that can be considered as one sample. And after incrementing the time interval again TS seconds, another sample, etc. until maximum frequency is reached. Frequency of the sample equal to 1 by Ts. Already we told this in earlier, is called the sampling rate or sampling frequency. There are three sampling methods: ideal, natural, and flat top. An ideal sampling method is an impulse at each sampling instant. That is, we can consider one sample consists of only one interval. In natural, a pulse of short width with varying amplitudes. You can consider more than one here, but here in ideal we can consider only one. In flat top, sample and hold like natural but with single amplitude value. So this is similar to natural, but here this is having the varying amplitude, but here single amplitude per interval. So this process is referred to as pulse amplitude modulation used for sampling, and outcome is a signal with analog values, that is non-integer values. That is, signal consists of voltage values instead of integer values, that is plus and minus voltage representations. So this is the diagram. Ideal sampling, already we have said, that is per time interval one sample. In negative, up to this t seconds are completed, this is one, and from this to this t seconds are completed, and from this to this, that is after, for every t seconds there is one sample, that is ideal sampling. But in natural sampling, we are not fixing the time intervals, but here in natural sampling, varying number of samples can exist per interval. We are not fixing that as one. Depending on the amplitude value, the number of samples can vary. So here we are considering there are only 4, but here there are 8. So that is, varying number of samples can exist without depending on time fixations. Next, coming to the flat top sampling, similar to natural sampling, but here the value is single. So here we are considering varying amplitudes, but here we are fixing the amplitude at a specific position, and we can consider that as one value. That is single amplitude per sample. So for this sample there is single amplitude value. For this sample this is the amplitude value. For this sample you should not consider whole. You should consider this is the amplitude value. For this one, this is the amplitude. So for each sample there is only single amplitude, but here there may be varying number of amplitudes. You can consider any one, that is from this to this. The amplitude measure you can consider any value, either which is greater or which is less. You can, that is depending on either maximum or minimum we are considering. So in these three methods always we can prefer natural sample. According to Nyquist theorem, the sampling rate must be at least 2 times the highest frequency contained in the signal. But always we can use in sampling Nyquist theorem because we are fixing the sampling rate at least 2 times because we are considering samples are always consists of the data in binary format. So binary means 2. So we can consider frequency is double than the bandwidth representation. So for that one here 2 times greater than the frequency. So this is the low pass signal and this is the band pass signal. But difference between these two signals is, but calculation is same for both. Nyquist rate equal to 2 into frequency maximum. Low pass signals always start from minimum, but band pass signal can start at any minimum value, not from 0. That is the difference between these two. So when signal is low pass signal, we can calculate the frequency by considering the minimum. If the signal is band pass signal, if the minimum frequency range is not specified, we cannot calculate the bandwidth value. That is the difference between these two, because this can start at any level, but this can start always at 0. So here different types of representations in sampling. Nyquist rate sampling, Fs equal to 2f means per sample 2 values. So here per sample we are considering 1, 2 and next 1, 2 and etc. So here in digital also we are in sample representation digital format also we are considering 2. So frequency is equal to 2 into frequency. But here that is 4 into frequency. Per sample we are considering 4 values, 1, 2, 3 and 4. But here we are considering only 1. So when we are considering sampling rate is double than the frequency, then we can consider it as Nyquist rate of sampling. If that is 4 times than the frequency, we are considering in Nyquist rate, the sampling may be at least 2 and also should exist more than 2. If that is more than 2, then we can consider it as oversampling. If that is less than 2, that is undersampling. So here we are considering only 1 per sample, 1 measure per sample. So a complex low pass signal has a bandwidth of 200 kHz. What is the minimum sampling rate for this signal? So here we are telling in this problem that is signal is low pass signal. Already in diagram we have seen if the signal is low pass signal, that should always start at a minimum frequency range of 0. So we can calculate it easily. That is the bandwidth of the low pass signal is between 0 and what is the maximum frequency we are considering, that is 200 kHz here, where f is the maximum frequency in the signal. Therefore, we can sample this using the Nyquist sampling theory. So 2 into 200 kHz, that is 400 kHz means 4 lakh samples per second. If this is low pass, if this is band pass signal, we cannot calculate. So see the next problem. A complex band pass signal has a bandwidth of 200 kHz. What is the minimum sampling rate for this signal? We cannot find the minimum sampling rate in this case because we do not know where the bandwidth starts or ends. We do not know the maximum frequency also in this signal because that is varying in the carrier at different bandwidth. So we cannot calculate for a band pass signal if we don't know the minimum and maximum bandwidth, that is that starting and ending of the bandwidth ranges. If that is low pass, we can fix 0 is the minimum and the frequency given is the maximum. If that is band pass signal, we cannot fix randomly. That should be given as minimum and maximum frequencies because that should exist. The band pass signal can exist at any location in the carrier with a specific bandwidth. Next one is quantization in pulse code modulation. Quantization means giving the intervals to the samples. So sampling results in a series of pulses of varying amplitude values ranging between minimum and maximum. The amplitude values are infinite between the two limits. There may be number of amplitudes that can exist depending on the sample representation. We need to map the infinite amplitude values onto a finite set of known values, because already we have seen in natural sampling the amplitude is varying. So for per sample we can consider any number of amplitude parameters. So for that one we can consider, we are telling this as an infinite. This is achieved by dividing the distance between minimum and maximum into L zones, each of height delta. So delta is calculated as the distance between, that is the amplitude distance between maximum and minimum by number of zones we are dividing, that is maximum minus minimum by L. The midpoint of each zone is assigned a value from 0 to L minus 1. Each sample falling in a zone is then approximated to the value of the midpoint. So any value we are considering in that zone, that is approximated to the middle value of L. Next, how can we fix? Assume we have a voltage signal with amplitudes minus 20, that is negative 20 volts to positive 20 volts. That is analog signal is varying between these two electrical signal voltages. We want to use, that is the zones are equal to 8 for 8 quantization levels. Zone width delta equal to, applying this in this previous formula, maximum is 20, minimum is minus 20. Maximum minus 20, that is plus 40 by 8 equal to 5. So here we have to divide this into 8 zones. Interval is 5 and this bandwidth should be divided into 8 zones. So minus 20 to minus 15 1, minus 15 to minus 10 2, minus 10 to minus 5 3, minus 5 to 0, 0 to plus 5, plus 5 to 10, etc. up to plus 1. So the middle points are minus 17.5. That is, you can calculate using the minimum and maximum and etc. Each zone is then assigned a binary code. The number of bits required to encode the zones or the number of bits per sample, as it is commonly referred to as n number of bits equal to log L, that is zone number base 2. So given our example, NB equal to 3. The 8 zone codes are therefore, here you can convert that into binary. 8 zone codes are automatically divided. That is, first zone is 0, 3 bits. Second zone is 1, converting 1 into binary 0, 0, 1. First 1. And zone 2 is 0, 1, 0. Zone 3. These are the binary values for these decimal values. 8 zones means 0 to 7. So 7 is 111, 6 is 110, 1015, 1004, 0113, 0102, 0011 and all zeros, that is 0. These are the binary codes for the zones. Assigning codes to the zones. Next, the decimal zones already we have been divided. You can assign these binary codes to the decimal zones. So from minimum to maximum. So 0 is for minus 20 to minus 15. 001 to minus 15 to minus 10, etc. In this manner you can assign. Next, quantization. Error. When a signal is quantized, we introduce an error. The coded signal is then approximation of the actual amplitude value. Quantized means when we are mapping the binary codes to the signal levels. The difference between the actual and coded value is referred to as the quantization error. If the coded value is not matched with the actual value we are getting in the amplitude, then automatically there is a quantization error. The more zones, the smaller the errors. But the more zones, the more bits are required to encode the samples. So, if there are more zones but data is or difference is less. But the more zones, the more bits are required to encode the samples. So quantization errors and signal noise ratio. Signals with lower amplitude values will suffer more from quantization errors. Non-linear quantization is used to alleviate this problem. So for that one, here we are using signal noise ratio should be calculated for the signal, for analog signal. If the signal noise ratio is fixed, then there are no errors in the analog signal. If the signal noise ratio is varying, then there may be errors can exist depending on the quantization zones assigned to the binary codes. Next, bitrate and bandwidth requirements. The bitrate of the pulse code modulation signal can be calculated from the number of bits per sample into the number of samples. That is, sampling rate means the number of samples. So bitrate equal to number of bits into frequency, that is the sampling rate. Number of bits means bits we are considering per sample. Total number of samples is frequency. So number of bits into number of samples is nothing but the bitrate. The bandwidth required to transmit this signal depends on the type of line coding we are using. So again we can match this with the line coding method for representing digital signal. So bitrate always depends on the bandwidth of the signal. So if the bandwidth is higher, then we can transfer maximum number of bits. If that is very low, we can send only minimum number of bits. So bitrate is low for minimum bandwidth, bitrate is high for maximum bandwidth. So an example problem, we want to digitize the human voice. What is the bitrate assuming 8 bits per sample? So for that one, here we have to consider initially what is the frequency ranges for human voice. Human voice frequency range is 4000 Hz. So we are considering that is varying from minimum frequency 0 to maximum frequency 4000. That is minimum bandwidth 0, maximum bandwidth 4000. So using the sampling rate equal to 4000 into 2 by using the Nyquist theorem. So that is 8000 samples per second. So sampling rate means number of, that is frequency into 2. So 4000 into 2, that is 8000 samples per second. Bitrate equal to number of bits into number of samples. Number of samples are 8000. Number of bits already given in the problem. Per sample those are 8. So 64,000 bits per second, that is 64 kilobits per second. Next, PCM decoder is converting the converted encoder to recover an analog signal from a digital signal. We follow, that is nothing but reverse process in previous one. Previous one is converting an analog signal. Previous 3 methods are used for converting an analog signal into a digital signal using sampling and next quantization and next assigning binary codes. When we are coming to the PCM decoder, this is reversing the process, that is a digital signal converted into analog. So this has the following steps. We use a hold circuit that holds the amplitude values of the pulse till the next pulse arrives. We pass the signal through a low pass filter with the cutoff frequency that is equal to the highest frequency. The higher the value of L, the less distorted the signal. If the number of zones are high, then signal distortion is less. If the number of zones are low, signal distortion is high. This is the decoder, passing a digital signal. Here we are using PCM decoder, make and connect samples, that is combining all the samples, that is a digital signal. Digital data is converted into a digital signal in form of an analog format, that is the samples are in digital format. Again we have to use a low pass filter, this converting this line coded digital signal into an analog sampled format. So this is the reverse process to the previous one. Next method is delta modulation. But delta modulation we cannot use. Always we can prefer pulse code modulation. But this can be used for simple data, not for lengthy representations. So this scheme sends only the difference between pulses. If the pulses at time t is higher in amplitude value than the pulse at time tn, then the pulse at time tn, that is the pulse at time tn plus 1 is higher than the amplitude at pulse Tn, then signal bit says it is 1. Is used to indicate that is a positive value. That is nothing but when we are samplifying the signal, if the amplitude value at a relevant time interval, that is the pulse at relevant time interval, if that is higher than the lower one, then we can consider that is positive. Because you can see in negative quadrant, negative high value means that is low. Negative low value means high. So if you can apply the same here, if Tn plus 1 is greater than Tn means the signal is positive. Always greater value should exist in positive. When we are considering those in negative, that are less, greater values are less. So for that one, here we are considering if Tn plus 1 is greater than Tn means the signal is either going from negative to positive or that is positive. If the pulse is lower means that is coming from positive to negative. We can represent it with a 0 value. This scheme works well for smaller changes in signal, but this cannot be used for large amplitudes. So this is, if the signal changes are very low, then we can use this signal, this modulation method. So in delta modulation, send an analog signal, a comparator comparing whether signal variations are less or not, and passing a delta unit and a staircase marker and producing a digital data. Simply changing the inversion of voltage representations at the amplitude level, whether high or low. If that is high, 1, if that is low, 0. That is simply representation, but this is always produce the inaccurate results. The same. Instead of using one bit to indicate positive and negative differences, we can use more than one bits, and also quantization differences become maximum. Each bit code is used to represent the value of the difference. The more bits, the more levels, the higher the accuracy. If we can use more number of bits for representing more quantization levels, then automatically the accuracy may be increased. If the amount of data is less, then accuracy is decreased. So that is up to the analog to digital conversion. Pulse code modulation, analog to digital, and also pulse code decode modulator, that is from digital to analog again. Next, coming to last one, transmission modes. How can we send the data? Using different types of transmission modes, that is data as a whole at a time, as or part by part. Different types of part by part means sending one byte at a time and another byte in next time interval, etc. Or sending whole data at a time. For that one, here we are having different types of transmission modes. A transmission of binary data across a link can be accomplished in either parallel or serial mode. Parallel means number of connections with number of lines, and each connection carry only one bit, but all amount of data can be transmitted in a single time interval. That is the parallel connection. But in serial connection is single, but carrier capacity can be divided into number of time intervals. So data can be transmitted in Tn time intervals. N bits can be transmitted in n Tn time intervals, not all at a time. But in parallel transmission, n bits can be transmitted in one time interval. But because here the number of connections are n to n. But in serial transmission, number of connections are 1 to 1. Amount of data transmitted in Tn time intervals, n bits. So that is the difference between parallel and serial communication. So in parallel communication, the physical structure is more complex. In serial communication, physical architecture is very simple. In parallel mode, multiple bits are sent with each clock tick. In serial mode, one bit is sent with each clock tick. While there is only one way to send parallel data, there are three subclasses of serial transmissions: asynchronous, synchronous, and isochronous. So, digital transmission, parallel and serial, there is no representation in parallel. In serial, asynchronous, synchronous, and isochronous. This is representation for a parallel transmission. One sender with multiple connections, that depends on number of bits we are transmitting. If there are 8 bits, we can construct 8 lines. to the receiver, and also this is always allowing one-way transmission, forwarding only or backwarding only. And 8 bits are sent together in single time interval with 8 lines, through 8 lines from sender to receiver. But time interval is single, amount of data is 8 bits. Number of connections are 8 from sender to receiver. That is the parallel transmission. But transmission way is not dual, single mode. Coming to the serial transmission, all the bits we are transmitting that are through a single line. 8 bits are transmitted through a single line from sender to receiver, but bit by bit in 8 time intervals. 8 bits are sent one after the another. We need only one line, but this is number of time intervals are 8. That is the difference between parallel and serial communication. So here the number of intervals are n. In parallel communication, number of intervals are 1. Time clicks are 1. Here 8 time clicks. Amount of data transmitted in a single time. Here in 8 time intervals. Number of connections are n. Number of connection is 1. That is the difference between parallel and serial. In first one, in asynchronous transmission of serial communication, we send a start byte 0 at the beginning and a 1, that is end byte 1 or more number of ones at the end of each byte. There may be a gap between each byte. That is asynchronous. Asynchronous means not time oriented. We can send the data without fixing the data amount. Large volumes of data, minimum value. How much amount of data we are retaining, we can set that amount of data without considering the time intervals and also carrier capacity. Asynchronous means asynchronous at the byte level, but the bits are still synchronized. Their durations are same. So this is the asynchronous transmission. Sender sending the data byte or bits. This is 0 bit means this is starting. So for this bit stream, for this byte, 0 is starting, 1 is ending. So this is forwarding. Forwarding means, here we are forwarding means going from sender to receiver. So this is the starting and this is the ending. And this is the starting and this is the ending. And this is the end. Starting is already gone to the receiver. So, but here there is a gap and 2 extra bits added to each byte. So this automatically reduces the transmission data capacity. For each byte we have to add extra 2 bits and also 1 bit gap between each 2 bytes. So this is the asynchronous. Next, coming to the synchronous transmission. No need to transmit at the starting and ending bits to the byte. We can combine and pack all the bytes as a single data frame and send the data frame by inserting a starting and ending delimiters. So automatically we can reduce the number of bits for gaps and also for starting and ending delimiters for each byte. So that is the synchronous. In synchronous transmission, we send bits one after the another without start or stop bits and also gaps. It is the responsibility of the receiver to group the data bits. The bits are usually sent as bytes and many bytes are grouped as a frame. A frame is identified with start and end. So here for a single frame we can use 2 extra bits. No gap bits, no extra bits for each byte. So we can reduce the number of bit representations which are wasting in the previous asynchronous mode. So that is here. Sending the bit a byte and combining all bytes as a frame, and for this frame we are inserting 2 bits starting and ending. That is the synchronous serial. Next, isochronous. Isochronous transmission, we cannot have uneven gaps between the frames. Transmission of bits is fixed with equal gaps. So this is up to